All right, we got to talk about the monster small cap stock that is Poet. I've got some fresh news for you guys today. Are you enjoying the ride? As my friend Mark likes to say, are you not entertained? Poet has had an absolutely incredible move. Yesterday's fateful video that all we needed was the announcement of some contracts, and this thing could absolutely rip to $20. And that's exactly what it did. Had a complete breakout. Now, middle of the day, as this thing was moving higher, I said that all we needed to do today was to close the candle above $20.50 and that we would go even higher. And again, that's what we did. And tonight, after market has closed, Poet is continuing to climb. What was the good news that Poet gave us today? LumaLens has placed an initial purchase order with Poet valued at $50 million. The order is the first phase of a broader supplier pact with potential to reach over $500 million. Poet has granted LumaLens a warrant to purchase up to 22 million common shares. Now, this is a really big deal because I want to remind you, when I first started talking to you about Poet, they only did about $1 million in revenue a year, and they were valued at $1 billion. This actually causes their price to come into alignment with their previous valuation, or at least it's now caught up, and we are now looking forward to the new contracts that will come along. And that's one of the most important things that I can share with you. I'm going to give you the lines in the sand. I'm going to talk to you about stop losses and next levels higher, but I want you guys to understand that this thing has gotten extremely hot and extremely frothy. It has in a euphoric move at this point, and eventually the momentum will cool down. And the only way that it can continue to climb is if it were to get more contracts, a back-to-back announcement of additional contracts with any of the hyperscalers, and this thing can continue to climb. We talked about its potential, and I was hoping to see that potential come to pass in the course of time. It's here at our doorstep now. Let me know in the comments section if you're enjoying this ride on Poet. Now, I'm going to go over a handful of stocks today. I want to just keep reminding you that the market is still bullish. It's going into tomorrow bullish. We're obviously waiting on this big news out of China about all these new trade deals that are going to get worked out, how it's going to bring inflation down, and there's going to be new contracts for all the CEOs that went over there. And the thing I want to remind you about that is that it's already been priced in. So when that actually comes to pass, we should see the markets react, but just keep in mind, it's been priced in. Wall Street understood this was coming. That's why they were loading up on QQQ and the Mag 7. That's why we see a lot of them doing extremely well. So there will be a reaction to the news event, but then you've got to immediately ask yourself, what is the next catalyst? Before I get too far into the show, welcome to Wall Street. This is the Stocks with Josh show. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for taking a minute and hitting the like. Hit the subscribe if you're looking for the next hot play. I have one that I wanted to give you guys yesterday. It was AIIO. It was kicking around the Discord being talked about. I mentioned over there that I popped a couple thousand shares and that it had potential. And boy, did it move today, 350%. This was found in the friendly screener. This is a tool that's available. And, you do still need to understand some of the mechanics of Wall Street. There is no easy way to make money, but there's a hard way to make easy money, and there's a big difference between the two. But that's what we do in the Stocks with Josh community. I teach you guys how to chart. I teach you how to fish. I teach you how to understand the tools that I'm using myself to make money every day. We had a huge advancement with my A+ scalp indicator. We used to be confined only to the 3 charts that I would analyze each and every day. We have now developed it in such a way that we can use it across all of the Mag 7 and the big ETFs. And I was using it today, and it worked out very, very well. Let me know if you enjoyed that indicator. You can get those types of tools, the friendly screener and the A+ scalp indicator, in the Stocks with Josh community. You can go to my website, which is the same name as my show, www.stockswithjosh.com. All right, we got to talk about Palantir. Now, I know that it was a bumpy ride. I talked about it every single day for the last week, I think. And I told you guys yesterday during one of my live trade sessions, I said, guys, this thing is weak. We can't afford to lose this critical level of 133.70. Everybody's got that level memorized. And when we did, you had to get out. But as it flushed down beneath 130, I said, I don't know if I'm just addicted to this thing. I decided to take risk again with the idea, and I told you in yesterday's video that it would come all the way back up and at least back test 133.70 before going down further. And we did exactly that. Now, I made around 3K taking that position. And I just want to remind you, for those who are the buy and hold. Sometimes they're referred to as the bag holders. You've got to be prepared to pivot. You've got to be prepared to watch the charts and to trust the level, the TTL. That's what I'm giving you guys here on this show every day. And that's what I did. I trusted the levels and I was able to make $3,000 today on that Palantir. Let me know how you did. Now, I got out. I got out because it came up to my level, exactly my game plan, from under 130 to above 133.70, and it cooled off. Now, it's my opinion that Palantir could, from this pivotal moment, from this critical level that I've given you that has been dancing around for weeks, we could roll over tomorrow and lose the level and go back and make a lower low, or we could build from here. I'm not in it. I'm going to reassess it in the morning. And tomorrow is another one of my live trade sessions with the community. And I will likely be looking at the Palantir chart. And if we begin to build some momentum off of 133.70, I'll be right back in it with everybody else. Let me know what you're doing with your Palantir. All right, before I run out of time, I have to highlight one of my most successful trades, which has also been talked about on this show repeatedly, which is shorting the semiconductors, but in particular, INTC. This dog has been printing cash for me. If you have been shorting it alongside of me, let me know in the comments section. But it continues to fall. Now, today, it hit a critical level and it lingered there, $116. Now, personally, I think that even if we get one more green candle higher, which I would love to see, I'm going to load shorts again because I think this thing is going to continue to come down. Let's take a minute and go into the charts and let me show you these incredible stocks. All right, we're going to kick things off with Poet. I've got a trend-based fib extension drawn on it. That's what gave me my $20.50 level. I teach this in the Stocks with Josh Discord, often in the Welcome to the Discord videos that I do live Saturday mornings. And I said during the middle of the day, if we can hold this level, it opens up the door for a move to 23.75. Well, let's shift from the daily chart to the 12-hour chart. Bam! That's what we got all the way up. So the market closed and this bad boy ripped right to the next fib level. I love charts. I love charting. And I'm going to tell you, this thing has not slowed down. And it's extended. Not a lot of moves get up to this 2 level on the trend-based fib extension. Unless you're a semiconductor or a photonic stock, you don't normally rip this high. But this thing is absolutely a cash printing machine. Now, you can use this trend-based fib extension to set your stop losses. You can tighten up your stop losses. I can just tell you that, as I've said repeatedly, that this thing has been worth holding, and it's just continuing to climb, and it's one of the most amazing movers of 2026. All right, let's jump into INTC. I put the skull and crossbones on that chart because I knew INTC's time had come to short. And you can see I didn't even bother putting up breakout levels on this thing because I knew it was breaking down. 133 was our entry point. I made that clear in repeated videos. 124 was when a big flush was going to occur, and the target was somewhere between 116 and 110. Now, I'm just going to tell you guys that this is a level where I'm expecting to see a little bounce. Any re-entry into this 124, 116 zone, I'm going to be taking for more downside for INTC, shorting INTC. All right, let's talk about Palantir. Are the dog days over on Palantir? Well, I don't know. I just know that when I give you these levels, they matter, they count. TTL, trust the level. We simply have to get above this and stay above this tomorrow morning. And yes, we will then pop back up to 138. And yes, 150 will be back on the table. Palantir has been a pain trade for many, but I am up on Palantir because I know how to pivot. You've got to have a game plan. You have to have a tolerance level for your stop loss, and you got to let stuff go because oftentimes if it's not going the direction you thought it would go, then let it come down, get in at a better price, and start making some money. Let's talk about Meta. I just want to highlight yesterday, I told you exactly where it was and where it was going, and that's exactly what it did today. Let me show you that chart before I head out, and I'll give you a couple more thoughts on Meta. All right, I told you guys yesterday that Meta was going to go up and not down, and that we were going to hit 623, and that's exactly what we did. And you can see how important my levels are because it actually spent the entire day attempting to beat 623 up and get above, but it couldn't. It failed and it pulled back. I think it's still consolidating, and I really want you to see the big picture view on Meta. So we're going to go to the 4-hour chart, and I think this is a pattern that you guys probably can recognize. And I refer to it as the checkmate pattern. That's when we have this huge drop off, a sideways consolidation, which is often or can be followed by a massive rip and a move typically higher than the fall off. That becomes the checkmate if that actually happens. And I still think Meta has the potential for this type of move. Now, before you get too bullish, let me just explain to you that we still have to follow the charts. Let's go over a couple things. In my opinion, we also have here a inverted head and shoulders pattern. The left shoulder's been formed, the head's been formed, which means that we could come back a little bit, and then we'd have to come back to the neckline to break out, and we would have the right shoulder. And at that point, it would target an initial move, getting us up to 642. I just want you guys to be aware of what I'm watching in the charts. Now, the way that you guys could play that is you could take the idea that I just gave you, that if we get above that 623, which it hasn't been able to get above yet, that we would be confirming a move potentially up to 642. It's been lagging, and I think that what we're going to see is that eventually some of these other big tech players are going to cool off and begin to consolidate, and some of that money might roll over, and we might see a late stage rally in Palantir and Meta. What do you guys think? Still watching both of these stocks very carefully to make some money. Peace and blessings, my friends. Make sure you check out the Stocks with Josh community. Thank you for joining me today. Tomorrow, I live trade with the family. Looking forward to it. Peace and blessings. I'll see you in the next video. 95% of day traders lose money in the stock market. Only 5% of traders are consistently profitable. So if you're trading without a strategy, you're not trading, you're gambling. And here's what nobody tells you. 40% of day traders quit in the first month. 80% are gone within 2 years. This is not investing. Statistically, you're not more profitable because you make more trades. In fact, you're more likely to lose money. Profitable traders don't take the most trades, they take the right trades. Because if you're only chasing big wins and you're not learning the discipline and the technicals behind what makes a good trade, then you might as well be doing this. But what if I told you there was a way to learn while still getting instant access to the technicals, so you know whether a stock is in the bullish or bearish bucket, without needing a master's degree in indicators or charts before you begin? That's exactly why I made the Friendly Stock Screener, so you can understand what I see in the charts before I even talk about it on my channel. Have you ever wanted to hear my thoughts on a particular stock? Well, now you can with the Friendly Screener. It was built on my logic, my technicals, and tried and tested trading systems, so you can screen any stock, anytime, anywhere. Stop gambling, screen your risk, and find your wins. The Friendly Stock Screener, clarity over activity.